Steve, if you'd open with
Sure.
prayer for us. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep your will and your wishes for us in mind. Help us keep the best interests of our residents and folks, Lord, that count on us. Help us, Lord, to just be good today. I ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Did you have a chance to look at the minutes from September 26th?
Steve found a couple things that I
Got it.
corrected.
Good.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, Joni, what else did you have for us today?
All right, I've got Allied weekly health insurance claims, and those are in the amount of $86,660.62. 86,660.62. Out of that, medical was $95,406.95. RX is $26,693.73. With adjustments of $35,440.06, which gives us the total $86,660.62. And I wrote all that down here so you can actually see it in a bigger size, and I did sign off that they are our claimants.
Okay. All right, any questions on that? Otherwise, I'll take the motion to approve that claim.
Make a motion to approve these.
Second.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Handed out to you prior to the meeting, the animal shelter and animal control reports. We did ask Cindy to be here regarding the animal shelter report. If you'd like to wait until she's here, she's on later. You could go ahead and approve it. But I had asked her to come so that she can tell you, first of all, how things are going, and second of all, if you have questions on the report that she submits.
Any idea what
She'll be
time
here.
she might come?
She's on the agenda at 10:50.
Why don't we hold off on that?
And that would be the animal shelter. Animal control is different. Animal control that you have in your hands is Pat and Jenny Sprunger. I gave you guys.
So we can take a motion to enter that report in the.
Yeah, let me, can I make a copy of that real quick? Sure. I either gave somebody two or I didn't get a. The animal control is fine. The animal shelter you can wait on. Let me get a copy of this to Jim and Eric. Both of them. Okay. That's just one of them. They're not approving the other one yet because she's coming in later. To explain it.
Make a motion to accept the animal control report and approve payment.
Second.
Motion carries.
Okay. Then we'll do animal shelter later when Cindy is here. I don't know if she's bringing a mic with her or not, but the only other thing that I handed out to you that you guys were discussing, we can wait. We obviously have to change it because we wrote the resolution up the way we had given it to you last week. That's how we wrote the resolution up. So if you add a date to that, we're going to have to change it, make a new date, new resolution number probably, and then bring it back next week. So you can either discuss it, table it.
Well, as the discussion was, as July 4th falls on a Thursday, What the discussion was, whether or not to also allow Friday as part of that holiday, rather than come back for one day before the weekend. So any discussion to that?
I guess I feel like we're pretty generous already with the paid holidays that we give. Folks have PTO, they can take PTO on that Friday if they want off. I hate the thought of moving it. I mean, July 4th is one of the few holidays that we don't move around on the calendar. Make it convenient for us. It's a fixed date on the calendar every year. I hate to mess with that. But certainly I'm open to your thoughts as well.
Is there anything we can do as far as allowing department heads to, allow, department employees to take off, but use their own PTO and not include it as a paid holiday?
I don't know that that would take any action from us. I think that's.
If you did that,
that's
you
what
would
this-
still, you could still pass this, and that's not part of the holidays then at that point.
Right.
I think you need to make it clear that, the county's still open for business on that Friday. The department heads are still responsible for staffing their offices appropriately, that we're not going to be closed. They can't close their offices.
If you declare, if you put it on the holiday list, that will be a paid holiday. Everybody will be paid for that holiday. If you don't put it on here and leave it as it is,
I'm not going to
if you choose, if you choose to tell people they can take PTO, I mean, they could anyway.
Yeah, that's unspoken, that's the way PTO works. With the permission or the approval of their supervisor, they have the day off, take PTO day.
Because I don't know if I'd want everybody but myself taking PTO on that day because it was allowed to take, you know what I'm saying? Then if they wouldn't have to ask for it first, because I'm not gonna let them all take off on the same day.
Why don't we table this and bring it up next week? That way we have a chance to decide what we want to do.
That's fine, but I'll still have to change the date.
Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with looking at it again next week.
Okay. We'll have some discussion amongst us then.
Can you bring that as a second option to have, July 4th and 5th as Independence Day holiday? And we'll have this one to look at and then have that as a second
Well,
option.
what it is, this is one option, the one added is the others. There'd be two options,
Right.
which is, I think what we had meant to do the last time, but not on that date, but on the other one that we're not giving. Didn't think about that.
Then whichever one we decided on, we could approve next week and sign.
I'll message Bree and tell her that we'll have to change dates and so forth and bring it back. So,
Okay,
Thank you, Tony.
all right.
actually, I'm just gonna tell her.
You
it's
okay
too
over
much.
there, guys?
Under control.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
There's so many ways to get attention.
It's all right. I take our grandkids out to eat sometimes.
He's just a big kid anyway.
All right.
So other than the animal shelter report, that's all that I have. We'll just have to, when she comes, we'll still have to make the motion and stuff to enter it into the record.
Okay.
And I had told her that you guys generally like to see folks at least once a year, like weights and measure.
Yeah.
So at least come in once a year to
Yeah,
let you guys know how things are going and.
very good. Yeah.
Total structure report, I want to see how she. Yeah.
I
How she arrives at these numbers.
yeah.
I got that.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing her there.
Yep. Okay. Other than that, that's all that I had.
All right. Brad, Paul? Thanks, Mark.
So while we're talking about this, I got some pictures that you guys can just pass down. This is our roof on our, the mechanics area. And so just give you a little background there. The original portion of that was built in 1959. It was added on to in 1973.
That almost
So
looks like it's got a coating over aluminum.
it's
coating.
been coated, and all the black areas you see is where our guys have pitched it through the years. And now there's actually holes in it up there. So, I guess what we're doing is, then the office out front was built in 1990. And as far as anybody can remember, looking back at records, that roof has never been touched, and that is a shingle roof. So what we would like to do is ask permission to do the whole long mechanics area roof and do the office roof also, just do them all. And so basically what we are looking into is on the metal roof, it would be like an insulation board, correct me if I'm wrong, like they put an insulation board in between all the seams, the raised seams. Then they come back over it with like that rubber roofing coating and just seal the whole thing up. And then on the front office roof, we would like to do a metal roof over it.
That's surprising. That looks like a commercial standing seam roof. How old did you say that was?
1959 was the
Oh,
big part of it. 1973 was back, like,
so it's pretty old.
it's old. And it's been patched and pitched and, yeah. And now,
I wonder if they've just put a membrane over that or if they.
basically, it would be a membrane over that. Once they put that insulation down, it'd be a membrane over the whole thing. It's a sealed.
Almost like this roof up here.
Basically, yes. It'd be very
The
similar.
difference
to
would be
the roof
is
up
hers isn't flat right now.
here.
Yeah,
That's the-
yeah.
So basically, we're asking your permission to pursue this. Now, we realize, we're gonna have to bid it out. We are gonna have to go for an additional because we didn't have this in the line item expecting this. Generally, we just send the guys up there to pitch it and be done with it for the winter. So what we're thinking though is we'll get those holes fixed for winter. And then the timeline on this is probably gonna be, won't be till next spring till they can get to it more than likely.
Is it just on the south side there?
That's the whole roof.
Oh,
That's
it's on
both sides.
both sides.
Yeah.
okay. So. Well, yeah, if you come back with bids and, I mean, to me, that seems like a pretty efficient way to.
Yeah. So basically what we'll do is, like I said, we'll have to go to council in, I don't believe we're on until November. We didn't make it for October. We'll come in November to council to ask for the additional, and then at that point, we can do the bidding process.
Is it on the main building, the old primary
The
building,
old primary main building, yes,
the whole thing?
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then, actually, that brings up just another quick question maybe for you. We've been looking through the IC codes and that, make sure we do it correctly. And there is and one of those IC codes is something about building and property maintenance, that it's a way you can handle it differently. So,
Yeah, just let me know, we'll look at it,
Okay.
but is that a steel truss building?
Yes.
yes, it is steel.
It's got steel,
Yeah, it's got
Yeah,
steel
steel
I-beams.
I-beams.
I-beams all the way up, that
Joists,
forms the,
Yep.
what's the pitch on that roof? Is that about a 412, 612?
I would just-
Probably
I would
four.
Assume it's a 612. I don't think it's quite a 4. I don't know. I would guess it's.
Pretty,
either
is it
4 or
pretty
6.
flat?
It's,
Can you walk it?
it's,
You can
oh
walk
yeah,
it.
you can walk it.
Yeah, you can walk.
Probably 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna get quotes to take all the old steel siding off and
No,
put new
no.
on?
They're gonna go right over it.
They'll repair the holes
Yeah.
and go right over top of it.
I just put all new steel on it.
Well, the problem with that is it's got like the chicken wire mesh on the inside and they sprayed insulation
Oh.
against it
Yeah,
over the
it's-
years,
yeah.
so we're kind of.
Oh, so that's, oh boy,
Yeah, it's all been spray foamed.
well, that would be a mess.
Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck with going, what we have and going over.
And what little bit we looked into, there's a 20-year or 40-year guarantee.
On this,
Yeah.
on that rubber roof style, I think it was a 40-year.
Yeah, there's a 40-year guarantee on it, so.
Well, good, that gets us all out of the, down the road.
So anyhow, yes, we're just
That's a
asking your
pretty long
permission.
warranty for a membrane roof. Typically, they're
Yeah.
not that long.
Yeah, you're right. They're
Yeah.
typically not that.
Like I
long.
said, we did. Yeah, it's 40 years.
But it doesn't have a bunch of hips and valleys in it.
No.
One run, back.
So basically, yeah, we're asking your permission that once if the council approves the additional November, that we can pursue this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, motion carries. Yeah, I'll be curious to see if any of the contractors you talk to have other options. So,
Okay, thank you. Then the only other thing we have is we've been preparing you guys for months,
Yeah, Tandem Maxwell truck, got the phone call
Monday.
Monday, yesterday, yeah, I guess it was yesterday. Our slot is open for the order of the third most recent Tandem Axle truck. And we were approved on hey, they're gonna hold this price for this year. The only thing that's happened in the whole thing is our slot's open and the price went up. So how do we have to go back and rebid that, Mark?
The slot's open now.
The slot's open.
As far
As far as we know, that's the only company that's able to order or willing to order or whatever. But the price went up $8,435.
Great. What happened to them holding the price?
Well, the other thing is too, of course, this won't be built until 24 and it's actually considered a 25.
Which on the first truck, the first truck, the factory dinged us what?
4,000.
4,500 on it. Hey, we're building your truck, but guess what? It's gonna cost you more money, so.
Yeah.
when would we expect delivery if we put in a slot?
Probably summer of 24. Early summer could be
Who is the manufacturer?
Freightliner, same as the last.
same as the last two.
Do you have to rebid it before you?
That's
That's
what,
what we're asking.
Well, what were the bids? Would this make them are they still low bid?
well, we don't know because nobody else has been able to.
No one else will even have us a slot, so everyone else is like, well, we can't even bid this because we don't know when, we can't give you an idea. So kind of,
That goes along with, you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I see those emails about all the counties that are having trouble. Dealers have been pulling their orders even from them.
So if we were to order this now based on that bid and that increase, would they hold that once the truck was delivered?
Yeah,
as
the
soon as
new
we'd have a
price,
signed paper,
Yeah.
they would have.
this new price should be held.
Well, you can approve it on the basis of, it was the low bid at the time or the only bid at the time. And you can approve it, but you have to find in the minutes that only one source meets the county's reasonable requirements, and that is this truck, because there aren't any other trucks that can be built and delivered. And so it's literally the only option. But you need to have a motion to that effect and put it in the minutes.
I'll make the motion of what Mark just said.
So, yeah, Tony, they approved the purchase of the truck with the increase on the basis that only one bid is responsive and only one source meets the county's reasonable.
Tandem axle. Yes.
Yeah, only one source meets the county's reasonable requirements, which it's reasonable to say you need the truck and
Trying to get, yep,
nobody else was willing to build one.
yep.
This new way is taking all the fun out of it.
What's the amount of that?
The new truck would be $136,925.
And that does not include the bed?
That's just the chassis.
That's just to get the chassis so we can,
And then we'll have
Yeah.
to, once we get that, then we'll go on to the bidding process, like what is that, next week when we open the bids?
yeah, next week.
Next week, we open the bids for the chassis that we've got last to go forward with that build, so.
But you only got this one responsive bid for this,
Yes.
and that was who?
They're the only ones, Stoops Freight Center. They're the only ones right now that have spots available.
Okay.
Okay. boy, we've got a motion. And did you second that, Steve?
I did.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
very good.
So I don't think anything from you guys. That's all we got. Business is normal.
Oh, that, what we talked about, you need to bring to us,
Okay.
whatever you feel would be feasible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can sit down and do that. And bring it up next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring us a recommendation. Okay.
Bring us a recommendation
Okay.
next week.
Yeah, other than that, business is normal.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you. All right, Rick, did you have anything for us?
Okay. I think I'll just start out with the electrical work going on. Service Electric, as you know, had the portion of wiring downstairs and getting it up out of the basement. They're at a standstill now until we get our UPSs. But I think they're on their way because I talked to Mike and he got his invoice for them, so.
So they got the panels wired?
Yeah.
Does that take it to the point where we can take the panels out of the other server room now, or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, we have to have UPSs before they
Yeah.
can do that.
And like I said, Mike got the invoice, so pretty positive they're on their way, so
Okay,
just letting you know what's going on there. Shamball is working down the alley. They put up the distribution box, yesterday, caulked it and everything. Now they put brackets up on the building to run the conduit down the alley.
anything with the pad?
Yeah, kind of ran into a little, had to get some information for the city. And Mark was gracious enough to help me out a little bit this morning, so I've got to fill out this paperwork and go back to him, and I don't know, I may have to attend a board meeting or something with him, but it's just variances because of the fence,
Oh,
but it's not intruding anything. I mean, it's not gonna go past the building. It's just legality
it's
stuff.
just probably a setback issue.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. Shambo went to get it, and this is what they told him, so now I'm working on it.
Okay.
There is Monday, the buildings are closed because of Columbus Day. A few weeks back, a couple air handlers were leaking water and kind of spilling some carpet. Guess I'm just asking permission to come in Monday to try to get those cleaned up.
You think they'll clean? I mean, or is it anything we have to replace?
I hope not. I mean, probably the worst is maybe Shannon's room, but Mike has an area up there that was leaking, and then Shannon's room was hit the hardest probably. Well, they both were.
Was there any other damage?
Ceiling tile
Okay,
since it's been replaced.
and then those were just condensate drains that were leaking, and that's been taken care of?
Yeah. Taking the plugs out, blew the lines out. It's something I'll try to get to before that happens. Just need to maintenance and try to blow them out before humidity comes on us.
That's not an insurance issue, is it?
So with that being said, I mean, guess I'm asking to work on that.
Go for it.
Yeah. You're gonna have to cancel all your Columbus Day plans.
Yeah. Other than that, right now, that's all I got.
I don't know if they need a motion to allow him to come in to do that on a holiday or not. I don't think so. I mean,
It's just safer to do it that way because the hoses are gonna be drugged through.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if it had to be official in the minutes. It was,
Well, that's why I asked.
yeah, no, thanks for being willing to do that.
Will it just be you, or will you bring somebody in to help you?
It'd just be me. Well, Alman, cleaning, Alman property will be coming down, cleaning
Just me and him.
Very good. Any other questions for Rick? All right. Thank you.
Steve, whatever. Yeah, good. I'd like to, Rick and I chatted briefly about, so we had kind of the whole discussion with Shelley Bright about record storage, and we're storing records down in Geneva and then, or in Bern in the basement of the bank down there and some things like that. So I just asked Rick to help me understand if we had options here in this building to move those records to. And so, so Rick's got some ideas on that. So we'll kick that around a little bit.
Very good.
You might want, Brad, you're gonna have to get quotes for that roof, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna get with that company that did ours, they might give you a
Sent you
quote.
that. Yeah, I've contacted Rick,
Okay.
get the names of the companies he used.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Rick.
All right. Ed, did you have anything for us?
It's the beginning of the month again, and time for, take a look at my monthly report. Everything's kosher, everything balances, and we're in good shape with all that. If you have any questions, here I am. Lots of numbers. Got them all memorized?
Okay. Any questions on either the deposit balances or the investment side? How are interest rates doing?
They are doing well. I'll report on that just a little bit, but I think it's just not rubber stamped. It's the wrong term. Just need to
Okay.
get improved.
All right. Any questions on this report?
I'll make a motion, we put the report.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Thank you,
Moving
gentlemen.
to second to put the report in the record.
The RFP that we did last month, today, actually, the first was the first day of that. So our interest rate of our primary bank has gone up to 3.97%. That's not the highest rate we have in the 4 county banks that we use, but they also absorb a lot of the fees. So we've worked all that out. It works out well, but we are now getting that 3.97%. And that's considerably higher than what it was 2 years ago. Of course, the market and everything changes, but we'll see those numbers increase. I've had 2 other increases since then with our, I'll call it our secondary bank, where we have the bulk of our money. And that's some really good interest. So I'm happy with that. I have a report next week on what the monthly, where we're doing year to date and all that stuff. I don't have it today. I will have, because we don't have all the statements yet from all the banks, but I will have it by next week. Property taxes are coming in well. We're starting to gear up a little bit. People are, they know, within 5 weeks now, 6 weeks. This month or next month, it'll be November 13th is the due date. Normally it's November 10th, but because of a holiday falls there, November 13th will be the due date on that. And then tax sale is coming up at the end of this month, Tuesday, October 31st, 1 o'clock. So you have your meeting and then grab some lunch, come on back and buy some properties. You guys won't buy them, but you might want to watch. As of this morning, we have 26 parcels, and I anticipate half of those will be gone by the time we actually have the actual sale. And then I like to report on our Golden Meadows money. Trust Indiana, since we put that in, we've earned interest since June the 9th. We've earned $28,750 worth of interest with that money just sitting there. So that's a good thing. You guys did a good job with that.
So that, since June 9th, that's very near what we would have made on cash rent
Entire year, yes, yes.
for the entire year.
So
You don't have to do a thing with it. I mean, you don't. I've had people say, well, should have held on to that property because, you know, what happens if they spend all that money? Well, you don't have to spend the money. You know, just let it roll over until you need it for something. I know you got a few things you might want to do. And back then, you would have had the option to sell the land and use that money for whatever project you have. But since you don't have to do that right now, because you're not ready to do whatever project you are, then that money could just earn right now about 3 times the interest rate of what we were getting prior to. So it's a good thing.
Well, I feel too like we did the right thing.
Yep. Is there any other thing you might have questions on? You made fun of me 2 weeks ago when I brought all these papers in. I just want to make sure I have the ammunition to answer any questions you may have.
What was the beginning date for the start earning interest?
June the 9th of this year for Golden Meadows?
Yeah.
Yes. June the 9th. When we close everything. And put
That took us 4 months to get a year's rent.
Yeah.
So we got 3 more 4 months, correct?
Yep.
In 1 year.
Yep, so it's a good thing, and that'll roll over into next year, the year after that, so you decide to do something with it, or not, and then it'll just keep growing, so it's a good thing. Interest rates are still on the increase. The Fed didn't do much this last go around, but we anticipate they will do at least one more raise. Mr. Bailey, I don't know if that's your crystal ball as well, but
Yeah, no clue.
it's not gonna go down yet. It will go down
Certainly
eventually.
doesn't appear it's that the Fed is certainly forecasting longer for, higher for longer, so.
And that's good for us because we have the cash, we're invested in it, and we're in a good spot with all of that. I do feel sorry for some of the cash poor counties because if they have to borrow any money or anything, the interest rates are high, and we're not in that position. So I was at conference this last week, and I sat in a few different seminars with different financial planners and stuff, and everybody's scratching their heads a little bit on where it's gonna go and, you know, up and down and all this and that. But basically, if you have the money to invest, now's the time to invest it. And we have one CD that came due this last month. I reinvested that for, instead of 6 months, it's 12 months. A real good rate, and all that.
So I wonder if CD rates are looking better, like out beyond 18 months, whether it's 2
You
years.
still have that
Still have
upside
that.
down curve.
Huh.
But the 6 month used to be the best, and now it seems like 12 month, 9 to 12 months, it's just a little bit higher. But then it goes down because you just don't know.
I just think that's so interesting.
It's upside down, yeah. If you remember with the RFP, we had the one bank that they had a pretty decent rate for the first year guaranteed, but the second year went down because of the uncertainty. They just weren't sure of, you know, how far to stick your toe in the water,
Sure.
basically.
Yeah.
And, so anyway,
Yeah.
everything's good.
Well,
We're
I
gearing up.
appreciate you being aggressive with searching rates, you know, and still staying within our parameters.
The banks, they'll get an email from me regularly to, you know, what's your CD rates today, you know, and all this and that. And next week I'll do it again, and sometimes I jump in and sometimes I don't, but they're all good about it. We have the system down pretty good.
Yeah.
All right,
They don't answer the phone.
well,
You caller ID and say, oh, it's Ed again.
I used to call, and then I got a lot of that, so it's just better to give the email, and then I'll say, please let me know by close of business tomorrow, or, you know, whatever, and that works out pretty well.
Right.
So, all right, thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Hey Ed, when's that tax sale?
Tuesday, October 31st.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
We went to Bucks County that morning.
Hello.
All right, EMA.
No, they are not here yet. They're up till 10:45.
There's only about-
and Cindy's not here
About a
either.
dozen
Mark's not here either. There's a lot of them that are want to go to Shannon or Mark. I can put any idea how many of these are in text?
Bree, do you have a report for us?
I could go upstairs and get a
You
detailed
will later.
list. I could do that right now.
Yeah, if I could know that, I'll let that have some discussion out there.
Shannon, do you have anything for us?
Go down there and bring
Shannon,
it.
okay, let's discuss something on travel
Sure.
after.
The only thing that I have is I was asked by Sheriff Dan to get approval from you guys to hire a new deputy sheriff at the first year pay versus probationary pay because he's already accredited through Law Enforcement Academy. What we've done in the past when we have somebody come in.
I-
Send him off to.
Correct. He's already-
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit before too, and he said that we've done that for the last, 2 or 3 deputies that we've hired on a lateral move.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and he said he's gonna go to council next week to get it approved as well, but.
So
this is the
moved.
First step.
Second.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
so. All right. Well, that didn't kill much time.
I mean, I can talk if you want us to.
All right. We're moving too fast. Mark, did you have anything for us today?
Yeah, we've got a rezoning ordinance. So we had 2 rezoning recommendations or 2 rezoning petitions were heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they recommended the rezoning for both of them on the one here. I'm still trying to get,
I wondered, the title wasn't in the, did
Yeah.
that taken care of?
well, I'm trying to get a good legal description for it, and so far, I don't have it. So I'm not ready to have that one approved. Still trying to get it here this morning. But the other one can be approved. And this is the one that was, this one's out there in, Preble was the one out in Preble. So the rezone was from a R1 to single family to R2 multiple family. And that is just a lot. It's lot 13, David Whirling's first addition to the town of Preble. So that's a good legal description. And that's owned by Ben and Chris Gerard. So the Planning Commission made a recommendation to approve that rezoning. And so we have a rezoning ordinance for that, and that would be Adams County Ordinance 2023-17 would be the next ordinance. I'll reprint this first page because I had it labeled. I was going to do the other one as 17 and this one as 18, but since we can't do this one, bring that back. So this will be 17. So the Planning Commission of Adams County is an advisory planning commission, and they convened on September 21st to consider a petition for rezoning certain real estate located in Adams County. And the applicant is the owner of one parcel located at 3935 West US Highway 224 in Adams County. A legal description is attached, which is that lot 13 in that addition. And the request is to rezone from R1 to R2, whereas the Planning Commission made inquiry concerning the impact the proposed zoning change would have on adjacent owners. And following a hearing, they've made a due pass recommendation, which is attached to the ordinance. Therefore, be ordained by the Adams County Board of Commissioners that the real estate which is described and attached is hereby rezoned from R1 single family to R2 multiple family as proposed by the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Planning Commission shall update the Adams County zoning maps accordingly, and the auditor shall forward a copy of this ordinance to the local and state officials as required by law. Be effective upon adoption. We have a motion to adopt this ordinance and a 3-0 vote, and it can be approved today. So do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-17 for this rezoning?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion carries. What was the address on that again?
That is 3935 West 224 in Preble. So if we have a vote, Do we have a vote on it for everybody? Is it a yes by everybody?
Yeah, I also vote yes.
All right, so we got a 3-0. Let me send it down for your signature. And then I'll correct the first page.
No. Well, that's a.
All right, so there's this signature page for that.
Yeah, that's just an empty lot, isn't it?
And I've got a couple other things, but we'll cover that here at the end, so. If you want to, do you have anything else? You're gonna table that other one until? Yeah, I'll bring that up here at the end. Next, no, the, policy. Oh, this one here? Yeah. Yeah, that one's tabled until next week, so, yeah, put that on the agenda for next week under attorney, just put rezoning. I think she has Mark Wynn for consideration of those on here today, but actually it isn't Mark, it's you. It's however. Well, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's. Mark's not gonna be down here. Yeah. You're doing it. Yep, you can just put it under. Okay. Attorney and consideration of, zoning ordinance. And it'd be just this, be the Milo, and it'd be the Schwartz tract, which is 2.5 acres on 300 West. So hopefully we'll have a good description.
Well, and that's probably another example of making that lot prime for an R2 building because of the sewer.
Yep, they've got sewer right there.
Anything else right now? Or you want to wait?
No, not right now.
Okay.
EMA's here.
Barb and Megan, you want to come on up?
Just wait till Cindy.
Morning.
Having a good day?
Well, yeah, so that's quite a document you sent us there. Yeah, as we read through all 140 pages and.
And it's the revised revision, or the revised
The revised revision?
revision.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's good bedtime reading.
Yeah,
So we have several plans we do at EMA. This plan is a county requirement, not a state or FEMA requirement. If some of you remember, I think Stan, you attended the multi-hazard mitigation plan
All right.
meetings we had.
yeah.
That
Ed,
was
Ed, we're kind of having,
Yeah, that's
a hard time.
All right, so it's. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
That was a FEMA state requirement for us to ask for grant funding. So if we don't do that plan and we ask for grant funding, they automatically just throw our stuff to the side. So that, and it is an important plan, but that one's about 400 pages long. That's a big one. This plan reflects Adams County. This is called an emergency operations plan. And this was reviewed by all of our first responder directors earlier in the year. So this plan has been in effect for years and years, but we send it out every 2 years, have the affected departments review it, look it over, make any changes. The biggest change we usually make in it is contact names and phone numbers, because I think Kevin Wellman's name is still on there from EMS, it's those type of things. So, but it is a requirement that the county has set forth.
Well, and I thought it was interesting too, that they do a risk assessment in this document. And I kind of assumed that was based on the surveys that we did
Exactly.
several months ago.
Every one of these plans somehow steps into the next plan. Everything we do for the county and the state and FEMA, they all overlap a little bit, or we pull information from one plan to make another plan. So, but this plan that we sent you, the EOP, emergency operations plan affects how first responders, what their process and procedures are in case of an emergency. So,
Well, and that might be something too, if we were to be very clear as far as what our role would be in such a plan, as far as, you know, as people were contracted during an emergency, and what our part in that was. I know there's money set aside for emergency funds, I think, to contract whatever may be needed. I don't know if that's $100,000, I think
we talked about that.
is set aside in the rainy day fund.
Yeah, I think Carla was here and mentioned, maybe 150. I think it's 150,000 possibly.
Was it
I think
150,000?
it was.
Yeah. So.
But we don't exactly have any deadlines on when these plans are finished. We try to keep them pretty close to the 2-year period. But in my mind, I wanted this plan finished and approved before the solar eclipse happened. I just did. I wanted to know that every plan that we have available that we could possibly use on this event that's coming our way, that we have it ready to go. So that's why we sent it to you guys for approval and hopefully sign off. And then once that's done, then we will contact every first responder agency and ask them how they would like to receive the plan. If they want it on a desk or a stick, or if they want a hard copy, whatever they want, we'll make sure that everyone has the same copy.
Well, and it's interesting, the chain of command structure and everything. I mean, a lot of the mnemonics I didn't understand, or the abbreviations, I should say, I didn't understand, but, so, you know, that's something that, like I say, as far as commissioners, we'll have to be clear on what our part would be, in that chain of command, in that type of situation, so. But the only other question, and I emailed you about that too, was, now that we're upgrading the resources in the annex as far as our generator, which will effectively operate the entire building in a power outage. And we've made some other upgrades to the heating system, to the air conditioning system, you know, that this could be brought in as a potential shelter, emergency shelter because of that, so.
And this plan that we sent you can be updated anytime.
Okay.
It's our plan. We can do what we want with it.
Okay.
We, the county. So Megan and I have talked about this because there's been up and down conversation about the warming and cooling centers, about alternate EOCs, and now that this building has had upgrades, you know, we feel that we should come up with more of a secure list for both of those. They won't necessarily be the same buildings for both things, for cooling and warming and for EOC. They could be different facilities. But we feel like we need to come up with one list for each of those and incorporate into this EOP. And that way it by the commissioner signing off on the EOP, that's, everyone knows then that those locations are the locations to go.
Yeah.
There won't be questions later.
Yeah, well, just like IT and communications, obviously the jail has got to be the thing. But, you know, as a secondary option, I mean, we've got our IT centralized for the county in this building, so, yeah, so.
So that's where we're at with that.
Yeah.
And then Megan has information on the HMEP grants. She wrote 4 of those this year. You want to go over what those were for?
Do you want to address the EOP first, or how?
Oh, we
do you-
can, sure.
You know, so I assume we need a motion to approve that plan as presented.
Yes.
So if you guys have had a chance to look at it at all, I know she'd emailed it out. So. Or if you have more time to look at it or what.
I have not. I actually went back through, I don't know that I received it, Stan.
Oh,
It's one of the
okay.
things that I I'm not sure. I'm back thinking, okay, did I just miss this? And where, so I've gone back through my emails and,
I think it came from me.
Yeah.
I forwarded it to all of you guys.
okay, well then I probably do have it. I have not looked at it yet, so
Okay.
I apologize.
It's a lengthy document.
Like I say, it's 140 pages, so.
Want us to give you a couple minutes to look at it here quick?
No, if you guys are comfortable with it, go ahead and approve it. I kind of hate to make the motion because I'm not,
I'll make the
I'm
motion
not
if we
seeing.
approve it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too. I read through it and I mean, it kept me on the edge of my seat. So, yeah.
Stan, are you seconding that then?
Yeah, so that would be the only thing I'd ask is maybe just, make sure that we're clear on what our,
We have a vote on, so.
we can, if you'd like to do a 3-person vote, I'd be
Yeah,
happy to call for a vote on
I'll vote in favor.
Okay.
that. Okay, very good.
Okay, good.
Motion carries. So Eric, that is an actual 3-person vote.
And then what day is that eclipse again?
Well, since you said.
April the 8th of 2020.
Yeah,
I knew it was next
good
year.
idea.
I'll double check that, thank you.
Wasn't trying to.
No, that's good. All right, well, very good. Thanks for your work on that, because that is a big accomplishment.
One thing I would like to add more about the heating, cooling centers and the alternate EOCs. That isn't something Meg and I are just going to decide what we want to do. That's going to be something we send out suggestions to the LAPC board and committees, the EMA committees. We'll put all the facts together, send them out, and if everybody agrees that is the best thing for the county, that's when we'll bring it to you and ask to add it,
Okay.
add it to this.
Very good. Well, and obviously, the most direct decision that we would have is on this building or other county buildings, but, I would probably defer to your recommendations on, whether it's Riverside Center or whether it's, I don't know what you had down south as far as
For fire department.
fire department, yeah.
Yeah. And they have generator backup. That's probably the one location over the years has been more of a stable location for us to use
Okay,
because it's large enough to hold everybody. It has the IT that we need and it has generator backups.
okay, good. All right, very good.
So for the 4 HMEP grants, I wrote them for an electric car awareness class.
Can you just tell us what HMAP stands for, so everybody?
Hazardous material emergency planning.
Hazardous material emergency planning, okay.
So these grants have to be directly related to an EHS, an extremely hazardous material process, event, training thing.
And it's gonna be there for like training, so any equipment requests, we have to put that towards the training too. So like our LAPC exercises, we would use that equipment for those exercises. So one of them we did was for an awareness class for electric vehicles and all their hazardous chemicals in case it would be to catch on fire with the batteries. The next one was for the hazmat operations training through the Fort Wayne Fire Division, because there are hazmat teams, since Adams County doesn't necessarily have one. Like with the Bungie incident, we had to call them in, and that will kind of just tell us what all they would be able to provide us. The next one is to get a Mini Ray 3010, which is like basically a gas detector to be able to take into an incident and be able to read the quality of the air. So with the Bungie incident, we could have used that device to be able to send people home sooner.
So would that be for multiple devices for all the fire departments?
So that one, we would only get one. Bungie's looking at getting one too. So the one that we would be getting would be, we keep it at the Decatur Fire, and all personnel would be trained on it, and then this way if something happened down south, they could take it down there. Or if ours is getting recalibrated, or sent in to get worked on, we would be able to use Bungie's, which is why we're kind of looking at trying to match the same thing we're getting with what Bungie's getting.
And this is also what Fort Wayne Hazmat Team uses. So they're all the same brand, all the same calibration tools.
Excellent.
And then the fourth one is to get 5 multi-gas detectors to be able to keep one of those at each of our firehouses in Adams County.
Okay.
So basically, everything we asked for is somehow either a result of experiences that we've had or expectations that the fire departments see could affect them. All of these things are related to the fire department.
I see those.
Well, and I think after having sat on the emergency management for, well, long time, you know, it's always an underappreciated kind of flying under the radar as far as the general public knowing everything that you do. So to see that coordination for all the county departments, all the county police departments, the fire departments, the EMS, and just to bring that coordination together into one room is just amazing to have that cooperation. So, and just to have that consistency with equipment and consistency with sharing of equipment, I think that just puts us in the best condition to handle emergencies and to recover from emergencies.
I think so too. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, Adams County is one of 11 counties in District 3. And District 3 is a great district because we are all somehow friends. We, even as a district, all 11 counties share training, we share equipment, we share templates, so that we don't have to start over from the beginning on something. But when I was getting ready to apply for this position, I was overwhelmed with the amount of support that I got from our local fire, law enforcement departments and District 3 EMs to go forward, not to back out, you know. They
Yeah.
said, you got this, we can do this, you know, but any decision Megan and I have that feels a big decision for the county, we never make it on our own. We always send out emails. Usually Stan, you're involved in those, but always law enforcement, fire, Chris Burkhart, Brad Yoder. You know, we tried to get as much input from other people that have more experience and our first responders than what we have.
Mark, if they.
That's the reason we're here.
Well, we've come a long way from Joe Clark and the civil defense and getting all the surplus equipment, nuclear radiation detectors, and stocking up on cots and bandages. We've come a long, long way to improve with technology and cooperation. And so that's been neat to see. So
Good, good. And you've seen it all?
I do have a picture of our helicopter that Joe
Oh, I would love to see that.
appropriated for us, yeah. Yeah. So, there.
Gosh, let's come with that.
Yeah, so, actually, sorry, Eric, but it was in the
That's
wrong
all 4
way.
of them? That's all 4 of them, and I've got all 4 of them here, trying to keep them separate.
Okay, so they just need to be signed.
They just need to
Yeah,
be
for
signed
sure.
and then
Yeah.
brought back to
So-
council.
And just one more thing from us, you're gonna hear a lot more about solar eclipse meetings and stuff. We are working on that diligently. Going to meetings, we are sharing what information we have with Wells County now. We just went over there, did some educating with them. You're gonna see much more activity and see more of it in the paper, more on the radio.
They have the same as.
Places in Andy's are booked.
Yeah, I think there's like, last week there was one hotel room left in. There wasn't booked already.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're just different amounts.
one hotel room.
Well, and the prices they're asking for those rooms.
Are crazy. And the meeting we went to Wells County, there were a couple DNR guys there that said, and I didn't know this
Grant
existed, but
applications.
where my husband says I'm wearing rose-colored glasses. But someone, a group, calls DNR and reserves like a bank of 30 camp spots for $30 a night, and then holds on to them and sells them for $300 a night for the
Whoa.
eclipse period.
Wow.
I guess that's against the law to do that, but it's happening already.
Huh, so watch out for scams.
So we'll start watching out, yeah, scams, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, you'll be hearing more from us on. Okay, we're done.
Okay, time for me.
All right.
You guys can, I just was conferring with Mark. You can, there's 4 different grants here. You can approve all 4 in the minutes, like as one motion. I'm gonna put in the minutes the amounts, but there's 4 of them. This is your guys's, your copy. Once they sign it, you'll need to bring it back next week to council.
Okay.
Because council also has to sign off and approve it as well, so you have to give the same
Speak.
talk next week to them.
Okay.
There's 2 copies. One will be for me, one will be for them to take.
And you can put in your minutes, right here, Tony, is the unique identifier for each grant, just write down
There's 4 different ones.
right here, the explanation.
Yeah.
That's the unique identifier for each grant.
Yep.
Which they cover.
What's that?
We have to approve those.
Motion approved.
Yeah. All right.
Start this one down here, Steve. if you want.
Motion carries to
Down
approve
this
all
way.
4.
One of those to go to you guys. Just bring it back next
Sign
week.
both of them.
I signed both of them. Because one copy is for me, for our records, the other one's gonna go to back to CNA.
8.
You're signing 8 things on the
Indicates a place for the president to sign.
All right, thanks, Jim. Are you going to be in your office today?
This afternoon, yes. Yeah, but we'll be
So
out
right
the next 2 days. We're gonna be
I
outside.
forgot, these have to be
We'll be in
approved
there
by the
today,
body,
but
but only signed,
the
like
next 2
Dennis will
days
sign
will be
it
in
next
solid
week.
waste.
Okay, but you'll be there this
So I just need
afternoon.
you to sign all 4.
Where's your office?
Need that dang stamp.
Jail, just come
And I
to the
can sign
jail.
my, or I can
Okay,
do it next
okay.
week.
I'll come see you.
Okay, that stamps up in the office. And apparently, Cindy had to move to next week instead of this week for the animal shelter report. So she plans to be here next week.
Okay, put her on the agenda.
I've got, is she on there for next week already? We also need a rezoning ordinance on there. I emailed Angie too. There was this,
It would be the Schwartz one for
this
2.5
one
acres.
here has to go next week.
I might try to think of a name now. About 5 minutes later, it comes to me. I see them signing it.
One of them they passed, the other one they didn't. I think we could still probably go ahead and leave that ordinance 18 when they do end up approving
Do
it.
you
though.
want to try and make a decision on?
No, so we'll have to move 18 and 19. We'll have to move 19 and 20 back up to 18, 19, so it may not be 18 next week.
No, that's, yeah, the one we approved was 17.
17 is the one we approved.
I need to I'll print a new page.
You'll probably have 21.
Depending on what council.
Well,
I'll just adjust
Yeah,
it
we
next
we
week,
can do it.
whatever it is.
Or we can wait till next week.
Nope.
Do you want me to sign another song? Just the one side.
Sign that set.
That works for me.
And I'm gonna put the commissioner that approved it.
I'm gonna make a motion that we do that, so you want that now or?
Yeah, if you guys are ready.
Here you go.
I mean, we'll wait till we're done. with that,
Right.
But yeah.
I realize that.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
So yeah, animal shelter.
Okay.
I'll hand this one out to him too. Give him that one, Tony.
Gary always breathes out the hallways, everybody.
Good to see you guys. That one does not have.
I won't,
This one sticks to the work on.
no, I don't. I won't be here. I'll probably get it when
a copy of a different.
I won't be around.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm gonna go out to her office this afternoon and see her and do a whole story on what she's doing.
That'd be great.
I've been going to all the Van Wert County, meetings about the eclipse too. Rick McCoy and I are best buddies.
Yeah, I forget what the amount was people were charging for the week. Go with this clips, it's like.
That's part of what we're discussing. You have to change those towers is offices closed, hotel limits.
Same ordinance number, right?
Yeah.
I would.
This is a different one than you got the first time.
Well, I don't know.
Because
There
most
was
others are different.
Take that document.
There's a difference between that one and the first one.
I would take one of those and do and change to it and say, this is my
I've got to remember to bring
my
this
push
next
on
to
the
council.
resolution and
Okay. Actually thought that I was coming with something totally different.
Oh,
Because we went out and met with them. Speak with,
oh, Rod
Bobby River
Rickberg.
Basin. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Huh,
Anyway.
all right. All right. What do we have next?
Steve Warren.
Okay. Yes. Steve, do you want to talk about the holiday schedule?
Sure. On the holiday schedule for next year, resolution number 2023-26, we are discussing about July 5th, Friday, following July 4th. And we've come to an agreement. It's up here, I think. I'm going to make a motion that we take Friday, July 5th, Independence Day, as an office closed day instead of a paid holiday. And I'll make that motion and leave everything else alone.
So you're gonna close their
What?
offices, but they have to
take PTO,
Take PTO
to get paid.
or take the day unpaid.
Or
or
take the
take
day
the
out.
day off without no
Yeah.
pay.
Second.
Okay. I would vote in favor of that also.
So
So,
we got a three-way vote on.
so it's unanimous that we will close the offices on July 4th as a paid holiday, and the offices will be closed on July 5th with the employee option of taking PTO or taking it as unpaid, but offices will be closed.
How do we write that up, Bree?
What?
How do we write that up for them to
I
sign?
don't know.
Because it's not the way that they've got it.
No.
Yeah, you'll have to,
I'll have to redo it.
Yep.
So I would just say table until next week and we'll have to type it up. And
That's
I'll
got to
ask
be
Mark
all,
about that.
that's a whole different
Okay.
ball
Okay.
of wax.
We'll table it till next week.
I mean, keep in mind what you're gonna say, but we've got to change the wording. We can't even print it the way it
I'll ask
is.
Mark for sure, I guess, how to work that.
So we'll do that.
And Stan, that was a 3-0 vote. You were on that one too.
Correct.
Three, okay, good. We've had two of those today.
Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah.
All righty.
Well, I don't know if it's tabled for us to bring that back next week.
It's not
It won't be that resolution by the time it gets back to you guys.
Can we approve it and then we'll approve the resolution when it comes?
Yeah.
We can make a motion to approve the action, take the action.
yeah, and
We'll
then
approve,
Okay.
approve
formalize
the
it,
ordinance when it comes.
formalize it in the form of a resolution yet.
Approve the resolution when it comes.
But can we use that same resolution number that we have on it? Or do we have to wait and see if there are others?
There may
before
be, it
next
may
week?
be a different resolution number. You can if that's, if.
So
it's
that would
available.
be the only thing that we.
Because we have to go in
correct
order.
the motion, yeah.
Yep.
Is the resolution number.
So it'll come back next week then?
Just to formalize the resolution.
Well, they approved it, but they can't sign it today because it's not in written form the way they said it.
Doesn't exist, okay.
And we can't just do that on the fly. I mean, we're good, but not that good.
So if you want to come in and pay your taxes on July 5th, we won't.
I paid mine in April. I paid all once. Get it done.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Is this coming up today or?
Yeah, so what, this policy here, is that coming up?
He passed out, you should have two different versions.
Yeah, there's two different versions of this proposed amendment to the policy manual. So it's proposed bonus paid policy exhibit 2B, which would be added to the County Policy Manual. It says effective January 1, 2024. Purpose of the policy to provide detailed guidelines for Adams County government employees and contract workers regarding the award of discretionary bonuses in addition to their standard compensation to include overtime. Scope, this policy shall apply to those employees or to those employed by contract as well as all full or part-time employees. There shall be two types of bonuses: retention bonus, provide to current county employees or contract workers as an incentive for continued employment for a designated time period and or to complete a specific project provided said employees fully satisfy all required criteria. And then performance bonus, which is provided to current employee or contract worker for extraordinary performance of their duties and or assumption of responsibilities far and above and beyond their current job description as directed or authorized by their department head. And the procedure is bonuses shall be awarded only upon approval of both the Adams County Board of Commissioners and the Adams County Council. Joint resolution shall be adopted to specify the terms of said bonus as follows: the name of the employee, the type of bonus, eligibility, terms and conditions, sum to be paid, and timetable for payment. This policy and the procedure set forth are subject to change at any time by agreement of the Adams County Board of Commissioners and Adams County Council, adopted and passed if you adopt it. That's version number 1. Version number 2 is the same policy. However, it only provides for retention bonus. There's no performance bonus in that policy. So those are 2 versions of that policy. If you want to adopt that today, one of these, you can. If you want to table it, you can do that as well.
And the incentive for this policy, these policy changes, so that we can accommodate this current situation at Golden Meadows in particular. But in the future, that policy would remain in effect should we encounter that situation again. So
that would save us then from having to amend the salary ordinance in order to do this kind
No,
of.
we still have to do that. Has to be done by council.
Still have to amend the salary
That
ordinance.
still has to be amended, yeah.
But
I
in
mean-
order to accomplish the retention bonuses and the other bonuses that we have proposed and approved, this policy would have to be in place.
No, I don't think the salary ordinance would include a contract employee because they are not a county employee, they're contracted.
This has to be approved to be in our policy manual. Salary ordinance has to be approved, which has not been approved, and budgets have not been approved. So besides the letter being approved last month, this has to be approved. Council still has to approve the salary ordinance, and they still have to approve the budgets in order for all of this to go through.
And we have to do that. Matter of fact, our DLGF rep emailed today saying, hey, you haven't done this yet, and we know it's because we can't. This has to be, we can't do it until council meets and votes on all of this on whatever capacity. Bree's going to have to, in real time, change it to what they vote on. Then we have to get that submitted that day to meet the DLGF deadline.
So what DLGF deadline for the budget? Is that the deadline we're
To
working
submit
around
the
here?
budget into Gateway.
So if we
The
didn't do
Form
this, it would be an additional appropriation, or it would be something that would be outside the budget process. I guess, don't hold a gun to my head if the gun isn't real. If the gun is just for the budget, tell me that.
You would have to approve the policy manual change before anything can be done. It has to be in our policy manuals per state board. It has to be on the salary ordinance per state board. The contracted employee cannot go on the salary ordinance because salary ordinance is county employees. The contracted person is not an employee, so they will not go on there. You guys are going to have to amend the contracted contract. So that contract has to be amended for her to get any kind of bonus.
Okay.
Salary ordinance, all the Golden Meadows employees have to be listed as their one-time bonuses, and this policy has to be done.
But you talked about the budget process and the
Well, there are-
timeline.
From my office's perspective, we have to have forms ready to submit. It's up in green
I guess I don't understand why DLGF called and said,
They
you haven't
emailed
done this yet, or emailed, and
because he said, you're
I'm
not
not
ready."
understanding the deadline.
Trying to tell
Budgets
you.
have to be done by next week,
I understand, but if it's not in the budget,
then it's not approved.
but it could be an
It
additional.
could be an
Okay,
additional.
so,
They approve it.
He just simply said, to probably any county in the same position, you aren't ready to submit yet. Normally by this time you would be.
Okay.
Because I'd already be able to see it, but he couldn't. That was the reason for the email.
so the reason for the email really wasn't pertaining to this per se.
Well, partly because
You're not holding up the budget based upon this, are you?
well, in a way, because council has to approve it.
Council has to approve it too.
But we didn't really talk about modifying the budget relative to these retention bonuses. We indicated that the money would be included in the budget potentially because of early terminations of those employees. The budget would be enough money in the salary budget because we're budgeting for a full year worth of compensation at Golden Meadows, and this would be less than what would be expected for a full year of compensation, assuming that those employees that's wrapped up mid-year next year.
It got added to the overtime line item, but as I just said, budgets have not been approved. So council could still lessen that or zero that, and then it's not approved. Does that make sense?
I understand. I guess I'm
I think there's two ways to go about it. You put it in the budget or you don't put it in the budget, in which case it would have to come back as
that would be
additional.
as an additional.
Yep.
Okay. I get you.
Which at this point, we're ready to do that during the meeting on whatever council ends up doing.
I think it was done this way simply because you're right in the middle of the budget process and just put it in there and get it done as opposed to bringing it back later as an additional.
And I think there's some Indiana code that has to be followed with bonuses and retentions and has to be in policies and so forth. and
That's
so
why they
on.
want the policy, yeah.
So
Shannon, has our proposed retention bonuses been presented to the employees at Golden Meadows?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And the retention bonus schedule was approved by council at their last meeting.
right,
The proposal was approved, correct?
Right.
okay. So what we have before us right now is the two policy changes, one for retention bonuses and one for bonuses outside.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's two versions. You either pass the one that says just retention bonuses, or you say retention and performance. And then obviously performance, then that's, that can come forward from any department at any time.
Okay, so
And I don't have the performance bonus language in
Yeah,
front of me. Would you read that again, please?
I think that was the first version that I sent down.
I should have put that in front of you guys.
You should have two
Probably
of them.
two different ones.
this one doesn't have the.
I just
I have one. Hold on. Let me see if I still have them.
Yeah.
Maybe they came back.
Yeah, because a lot of what you read.
How much paper?
Yeah.
I can print them again, or I could just,
I've got one here, but that was. Here's one, here's.
there were
oh,
two
wait a minute.
stapled copies. First.
Here's the one.
And where did this language come from, Mark? Is this something you just drafted, or is this
Julie
something
Marie.
you've seen somewhere else?
Yeah, Julie Marie drafted it.
Okay, hold on.
Does everybody have the other one?
I need one more copy. No, wait a minute, I got it. You don't have.
So performance bonuses come at the recommendation of the department head, but still have to be approved by council and commissioners. Okay, I get that. You got it.
Got this.
Okay.
You got this one.
Okay, so as far as looking at these policy changes, what's your thought on changing the policy to allow a retention bonus and a performance bonus, or just a retention bonus? So discussion on that.
It's kind of hit me kind of cold, but my off the cuff thought is I'm fine with the retention and the performance both, as long as all
Well,
those
and
bonuses have to be approved by commissioners and council.
in reality, this board has proposed both of these in absence of the policy. So the policy would, place this into official policy, yes.
And I think from my perspective as auditor, if this is passed with both, and the department head contacts me and asks me, what is the measure of extraordinary? Is there a form they would fill out? Do I then take that form to you and then to council? Do I take it to council and then you? You see what I'm saying? Because they will ask us, hey, I have such and such what are the parameters that we give them? That's what I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there needs to be, similar to the ARPA request form, if there needs to be a form that lists the procedure along with the bonus or something like that, or I don't know what the process.
My gut, Tony, tells me it's gonna happen so infrequently and so rarely, we'll know it when we see it.
The only thing I wonder is, as it's listed on here as a retention bonus, that's correct with our intent for the employees to get them to stay until, as long as Golden Meadows is in operation. The performance bonus is a little bit misleading because it was intended as a stipend outside of an employee's regular duties. So it's not so much that they worked harder, worked longer. It was a stipend
Because they picked up extra duty.
for duties that were not in their job description and were outside of what they were originally hired for. So I think that part might be just a little bit misleading.
Well, because the same thing that you just said, Stan, when I brought, in the assessor, I can think of a few departments that we came to the Wage Appeals Board because the amount of duties that they were doing had changed. They had more duties added to them, so they got moved up a level. So what's the difference between that and this performance?
Well, and I guess when I think of stipend outside of your normal duties, it would be like Mike Whirling doing the plat book technician outside of his surveyor duties. It'd be like Brad and Paul doing engineering duties outside of their highway department duties. It's for duties
Of course, they're already
outside
getting
of-
paid for that.
And that's the extra money that they're getting is because they're doing duties, because we
Right.
don't have an engineer.
Same
So
with
I
that.
guess that was our thought on, what happened with Shannon when she came in, and in addition to HR duties, we asked her to, fulfill administrative duties as an administrator effectively at Golden Meadows. So it wasn't that she just had extra work to do. It wasn't that she was just doing it exceptionally well or that she was getting overtime. It was like these were duties aside from what she was hired to do in addition, as a different description. So I guess that was my thought process. So it's not just, okay, well, I was just filing clerk and now I have to handle money at the counter. It wasn't, just additional things like that. It was a completely separate, just like when, Mike, when Paul was surveyor, he wasn't plat book technician because we didn't ask him to, he didn't want to. But with Mike Whirling, when he took on the plat book technician duties, it was because that was designated as a separate function. And just like administration is designated as a separate function from human resources. So that's how I looked at it.
I guess my other question would be, assuming it's passed with both, if a department head wants to submit an employee's name for the performance bonus, how is that decision made as far as, like,
Yeah.
if they bring this person in to the commissioners and say, here's what happened, this and that and the other, and there's a give and take with either body, That's that's personnel.
Well, let me ask you this, how did it happen with Mike Whirling? How was he decided to
Well, he
get?
was already doing the plat book, and then we had to figure out a way that he could do both.
Well, I guess
No,
when you talk about the
Stan,
process,
Hold on.
how did that happen?
I think that's totally different.
Well,
What
I
I'm
guess I
saying is-
don't.
What I'm asking, well, I do. And what I'm asking is, if you can't discuss personnel in a public meeting and you have to have an executive session, then how do we give performance bonuses that we feel somebody's entitled to if they're going to be there having to have a back and forth? Well, I don't think you're entitled to it. I do
Well,
think you're
and
entitled.
that's where I say I think the performance word is misleading.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. How do we word it so that my office or me or whoever's auditor in the future knows if somebody asks, if community corrections, whatever it is, if they say, hey, how do I nominate somebody? How do I present somebody? Because I feel like they did this. What does that need to look like for me to say, okay, I agree? Is it me that makes that determination or?
I think what Stan's saying is we don't like the performance bonus concept. Let's talk about something different. Because I'm with you. We do performance bonuses in the private sector all the time, but I don't feel that same, that same criteria is going to fit in the public sector. So if you take the performance bonus out, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about duties over and above those in the current job description.
Yeah, I just need a
What the
definition.
right is.
I
Yeah.
just need a definition of what that actually looks like.
Because I'm with you. When I heard the performance bonus before I saw it in writing, I thought, this sounds like it's going to be a difficult one to manage.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm with you. I think that's tough.
So we just need to figure out
So I
what it
guess,
needs to look like.
I guess back to my question, what did it look like for Mike Whirling to
Well,
give him that additional
Mike-
stipend?
Well, and I work with State Board of
And I mean,
Accounts.
I understand how the whole process came about, but we didn't have to change our policy to give him a stipend, did we?
No, because we did have to approve it in the meetings. Council had to approve that he be paid as surveyor and receive pay as plat book technician out of our transfer fee money. So we are actually paying him,
That's on a contract basis.
we're paying that.
1099, that's not W-2, that was a
Yeah.
contract basis.
So that didn't get added to the salary.
No.
ordinance.
It's on the salary ordinance, but I agree with Tony, it's a totally different situation. It's a whole nother job. And like he said, it was approved by both, that it was approved, it was on the salary ordinance. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying that employees shouldn't get a bonus if they go above and beyond. I just want to know what that looks like and how it
I
looks.
don't think we're talking about above and beyond their normal duties. What we're talking about is a different, if they assume a different job, like Mike did, taking on the plat book technician work, or like Brad and, like Brad did, taking on the engineering work.
And I think
It's kind of a
Steve,
different.
I think you're right when you say the standards would not be met often. And I don't know that I've had time, I don't even know if Julie Marie or Mark have had time to really, is there another way other than changing a whole policy that we aren't sure on? Is there another way to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish as a one-time thing? Because this is the first time that we've ever even looked at a performance bonus or anything like it since ever, as far as I know. I just want to know what it looks like, and then we do it correctly, and that's more of a Mark and Julie Marie question than me. I'm just asking.
I think I'm good with the retention bonus as it's written. I don't know what else we need to do.
You do that, and if you do the second one that he handed out, there is still time to discuss and figure out how the other one looks. Mark, am I right?
You would just do the one with retention because you know that's the one that you have in front of you to consider, because that's before council and as those retention bonuses have been approved. So I think you just do the retention. If you want to talk about performance bonuses down the road, that's fine.
I think the retention the retention bonuses, I think, are already in the salary ordinance. Is that right, Bray? For them.
It will be a separate sheet whenever they
But-
approve. the
but
salary
it's-
next week.
We already know those amounts and those names and,
Yes.
Yeah.
When they approve salary ordinance next week, they will be.
I just want to make sure if we do that, that we do it correctly, not just for us, but for the people way after I'm gone and way after you guys are gone, so that when they look and say, what does this mean? It's clear. If that makes sense. The retention I'm fine with. I don't know how often we're going to have a county department close. This is a unique situation.
It's unique.
Well, I guess I would ask for a motion to approve the retention bonus and allow further discussion for the performance bonus until we're satisfied with how that should move ahead.
Maybe even rename it or something.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on what you'd like to take action on today. If anything.
Now I don't have a copy of the one with just retention. I have it right here.
You got it. Oh, once they
We
make
ought to
them.
just take this under advisement for a week or two.
Yes.
And we can do them
I'll do
separate.
that. I'll move that we take this under advisement.
It's a lot.
Okay.
I'll second that.
And you know, it might even be possible, you guys have this in your hands. Julie Marie wrote it up. And as it regards policy, you can ask her, you can ask Shannon, you can ask me, Mark, whoever you need to say, let's make sure these definitions are clear. Let's make sure we know what we're doing. However, keep in mind that prior to the budget being officially adopted by council,
They're adopting it next week.
the retention bonus would at least need to be approved.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct?
Yep.
So,
But this policy says effective January 1st, 2024. I would assume as long as we approve it prior to January 1st, 2024, we're good,
I
right?
don't know if we might need this approved before we can submit the salary ordinance.
Well-
We'd have to
But it wouldn't start till
And
January
I
1st.
was of the understanding like Steve, that the total amount, excuse me, the total amount that would accommodate the bonuses proposed was in the budget as it was presented.
Both have been on council, they're not signed, sealed, delivered. They can make any changes until they sign off of budgets next week.
I understand that.
So yes,
but
right now it is.
Right now, it's in the budget.
They can come in next week and tell me and Tony, hey,
Sure.
you know, hey, we want to zero this, or whatever. I'm just saying you can, just like we've always told departments, you don't go tell your employees you're getting a $5 an hour raise, just because that's what they put out there until it is signed, sealed, delivered.
Right.
And they have not signed, sealed, delivered 2024 wages or 2024 budget until next Tuesday.
Right.
I mean, well,
Yeah,
So
the commissioners could take action on this next week. You could take action on it in December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think as long as it's in place before
before we. pay
those
anything
wages are
out,
paid,
Yeah, that
that's,
feels to me like.
that's the requirement. You know, they may say, well, we want to see it in your policy. Well, you'll see it in our policy before the 24 budget actually starts to pay out.
Yeah, I would agree. We probably can't pay any of these out until we have a policy that allows us to do that.
So I think probably the best step
Anything out?
would be if you don't make a decision on performance bonus or whatever you want to call it, I think you go ahead and do the retention. But if you want to address the performance part of it or whatever you decide to call it in November or December, just tell me and we'll put together something else. It's not hard to amend the policy manual.
well, I think, Mark, you've heard some of the discussion, that maybe you can confer with Julie Marie to say language or something and,
Yep.
you know,
It's all right.
Well, and I think everybody understands our intent. I mean, we had a discussion as far as what our intent was and why we wanted to do what we proposed. And so, you know, we can hopefully move ahead from there and make everything correct. in both policy and the salary
Might be
schedule.
down there, actually.
Was there a vote taken on anything?
Well,
I got all my.
there is a motion and second to table the decision.
I got it. That's what fine, that's fine, okay.
Yeah. So, okay.
That's zoning. Oh, right there. Here, that's what I need, because I got a new front page for it. Perfect.
Let's go to county.
All right. The good news is I got a good legal description for this other rezone. So
So good, that's gonna be 18.
18, already got it marked as 18.
Pause. We used to say.
So here's 17, it's been approved.
Everybody signed that one already?
Sure.
Yep. You need me to scan this and send it over to you as well?
Yep.
All right.
I'm still fine with it.
We got several things here. I'm fine now. Okay. Stick around. See what's here.
Are you reprinting 18 or?
I have it right here.
So they just, I don't think they made a motion on it, did they?
How's the Berman counter?
Same went to the bathroom, I think.
We've been having issues with trucks. Shoot, the oil spraying machine.
Oh.
Yeah, he blew another airline experience. That shuts everything down.
They're gonna get on that before winter gets here.
It's coming this weekend. Winter? Yeah, yeah, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it is. Anything below 50 is winter to me.
Oh, okay. Actually, just.
Thanks, Brad.
Half the house now. Oops. You done. So. Take off the hotel when they get back. We'll get it. So we'll discuss it after. I just wanted you to have that before we discuss it later. Okay, ordinance 18, 2023-18.
All right, so we got a good legal description. If we want to go ahead and consider, this would be ordinance 2023-18, again, rezoning ordinance, and this is for property located at 300 west, just north of 200 south. Property is owned by the Schwartz Family Trust. Plan Commission held a hearing, has recommended the rezoning. It's a 2.5 acre parcel recommended for rezone from A agricultural to C1 neighborhood commercial zone. And they held a hearing and made a recommendation for due pass. So this is the ordinance, therefore be ordained. Board of Commissioners, Adams County, the real estate as described to be rezoned from agricultural ag to C1 neighborhood commercial. And all of that's attached to the ordinance. And we've got a good legal description now because this is actually lot 2 in the MW subdivision in Adams County. So that's a subdivision. We've got a good legal description for it now. So I need a motion to approve ordinance 2023-18.
So move.
Mark, do we know what business is going to go in there or what they're going to do there? Grocery store. Okay. Second.
All right, moved and seconded to approve the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yep. Need to see if we got an affirmative vote by everybody.
I would vote affirmative.
All right. 3-0. I'll send it down. Just needs to be signed. All right, that takes care of that.
Then also a 3-0 vote, Tony?
Yes.
All three, okay, good. I'm trying to keep track of what's 3 votes.
And those were both first passed by the plan commission.
BZA.
Plan commission? Plan commission.
Okay, you mentioned the BZA last time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's plan commission. but we've done it.
How about the BCA have to make a recommendation?
Nope.
Rezone.
I'll get you scanned and sent copy to you, Mark.
All right.
Oh, got it.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
It goes to BZA first, and it goes to plan commission.
Oh, so both of them did it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, now I get it.
Right, these other things are
Double dip.
anyway.
That's all I got.
Okay. And Mark Quinn's not here.
And Mark Burry actually.
Mark Murray, not Mark.
the wrong
Oh,
name
that was
on
it.
it.
Gotcha.
Angie put Wynn instead of Burry.
Gotcha. Okay. Is this something that we need to act on?
That's gonna be after office hours.
Okay.
We're just gonna discuss, I mean, eventually it would come to you if you make any changes on it. But we just want to discuss it for now. Office hours to have you guys think about it and so forth. It just has to do with small portion of the travel policy regarding hotel limitations and so forth. Since the costs are going up on a lot of things.
Okay. The only other thing as far as commissioner, we had appointed Danielle Reed as our commissioner's representative to the Community Mental Health Center Board. And she is with the Department of Child Services, which is a state agency. And the state agency came back to her and said they didn't feel that was appropriate for her to sit on that board. So at the Community Corrections Board meeting last night, what I did, I asked them, there was no clear consensus, but I did ask them for a recommendation to bring other names forward to us to serve on that board. So they're gonna consider it. So as of right now, we're kind of, and you know, the opportunity is still there. I mean, we could appoint one of ourselves to that board also. But,
So do we need to take action to remove her from the board? We appointed her previously, didn't we?
I don't even know what she did.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know
Mark,
if she
do
came
we
over to
have
sign
to
that or not.
officially withdraw that name?
She can just submit a
Just
resignation.
deny it.
Yeah,
I don't think she ever came over and signed it.
if she never came over and signed, then
To my
we
knowledge.
could show it as,
accepted.
yeah, she was unable to accept the appointments, and then you go ahead and make another appointment.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah. But along that same note, I depend on Jack Odell from probation and Ian Gilbert from community corrections and Danielle Reed from Department of Child Services to see what kind of services we're getting from Park Center. And last night, they all had a favorable report and saying things are improving. They're adding more caseworkers and more
Wow.
people. And so Parkview is really making an effort to upgrade their services. So,
Sounds like the pressure that team put on them then is
yeah.
working.
So I think at this time, we'll just maintain, and they do have a new director, and so they're going to continue to give us quarterly reports that we've asked for. So, but yeah, things are getting better. So that's all I had from that. Then we got health board meeting tomorrow morning, and so, you know, that'll be an ongoing discussion as far as the funding from the governor's health initiative and how they're gonna budget for that and what they're gonna do, so that'll be interesting too to see how that comes about. But Other than that, I didn't have anything else. Well, October, of course, is the month for, we opened it up to applications for the opioid steering money. So those will be open through the month of October. So we'll see how that goes. And so, I don't know if there's anything else from you gentlemen. Anything else from the general public? Okay. All right.
Motion adjourned?
Second.
All right. Meeting adjourned.